Hello and howdy everyone. A couple nights ago I watched Killer Joe for the second time. I saw it in the theater and rented this a while ago. I loved it. I enjoyed it much more the second time. I think I will even enjoy it more the third time. I think this is a film that gets better with each time you watch it. You definitely notice a lot more. This is really an actor's movie. There's just a lot of acting going on here. There's not too much in terms of plot. It's basically a family, a divorced family, wanting to kill the mother for her insurance money. And they hire an assassin, Killer Joe, to kill her and to get that, insurance money. But things don't go as planned. So that's, pretty much the plot. And you just have to deal with all of these scumbags who are, wanting to get this done. So it's really, it's got a small cast. There's only like a couple of people outside of the family that we get to meet, and they're only, very briefly. Usually it's just like the family and Killer Joe. And everyone is just acting their ass off. It's really intense. I'm giving it a solid 9. I put it on my best of 2012 list, and I, back that up. It's definitely one of the better movies of 2012. Definitely one of the more challenging films of 2012. It's just really good. It's intense. It's haunting. It's unique in its, I don't know how to put it. No one has any redemptive quality. I mean, I suppose one of the characters has this naive innocence, but she still doesn't try and stop anything bad from happening. She encourages bad things to happen. She supports bad decisions, and then she eventually, even though it's kind of a merciful decision, she eventually commits violent acts. So really, no one in the film is good. No one is capable of redeeming in a way that there's no way for you to identify. I mean, you can, but not very deeply, I would hope. You can't identify with many of the characters, which I think makes it interesting. It makes you more of a spectator, and instead of, feeling like you're there, feel like, oh man, this is really speaking to me. I can identify with this. You will never say that, I would hope, while watching Killer Joe. Instead, you're just kind of watching this train wreck of a family, and it's like you're grateful that you're not involved. It's just like, wow, I'm so glad that I can leave this situation and leave all of these terrible people to their fate. It's just something it really just gets in your brain, and you just, I watched it probably, I was going to say 48, it hasn't been 48 hours, but, over 24 hours ago, and I'm still just thinking about it. And, when I saw it in the theater, I thought about it for days after, it really stuck in my brain. Here, I kind of enjoyed the small screen experience better, just because I noticed a lot more in terms of editing. I thought that, there was some nice editing going on here. Scorsese talks about how a film can, become something else entirely in the editing process. And he even talks about how, and I don't quite understand this, but he talks about how you can create shots and like tiny little scenes that weren't there when you filmed them, but they're there now, and I still, that's kind of abstract to me. I don't really get it, but he says that you can even create camera shots that you didn't even see when you were actually filming. So there's a lot of interesting editing going on here, in terms of like there's just like weird cutaways. I mean, the movie's weird. It's a weird movie. Just because you can't imagine, a life like this. I think I don't want to say weird. Weird's not the word. It's strange. It's a strange and unsettling film. And I think that strangeness and unsettling leaks into the editing. And there's like little cutaway shots of seemingly, I don't want to say pointless. What's a softer word than that? But innocuous? Is that? Anyway, they just don't seem to be related much to what's going on, but yet the entire film like cuts to this, like opening a cereal box, and I'm not entirely certain that's a prime example, but like, or, the TV or the remote to the TV, the camera will cut to that very briefly, and you're left in the instant after wondering, why did they do that? What was that about? So it definitely gets you thinking. It also, I definitely noticed this a lot more the second time, are there just like one-word lines where they'll be having a conversation, and the conversation will appear to be over, and then one of the characters will say like one word, or maybe even make an unintelligible grunt, sound, and that will be like the capper to the scene, and it will go on. It's like, what did that mean? What was that about? So it there's just lots of stuff to get you thinking about this film. Killer Joe started as a play. I can't believe that. I have no idea how this would be done on the stage. There is a documentary on the Blu-ray here. I didn't watch it, as I tend not to watch special features. But there is a documentary on here. I wonder if it had any of the stage footage. But it was a play. It was an off-Broadway play written by the playwright Tracy Letts, who also wrote the screenplay for this. So I think that's very interesting that the playwright would adapt their own work for the film, for the screen. I'm assuming Tracy Letts is a girl. Tracy, I know, can be either a guy or a girl, but I'll go girl. She also did Bug, which is, they did the same way. This is kind of like, I kind of want to hope that they keep doing this, but so there was a play called Bug, also by Tracy Letts, and she, along with William Friedkin, adopted Bug for the screen. Bug is a great film. I highly recommend that as well. Definitely delves into some of the same territory as this film. And here, Tracy Letts wrote another play, Killer Joe, and again, with William Friedkin, adapted it for the screen. So I think they make a really good team. They obviously are highly interested in the same dark recesses of the human mind, and I think that they make a good pair, and I hope that they keep on making some films like this. William Friedkin has been, working. He's like maybe arguably the director of the 70s. He made The French Connection and The Exorcist. Kubrick is around in that time as well, but William Friedkin really made some big pop culture impact in the 70s with those two films in particular, especially The Exorcist. Basically, I think any psychological horror film these days still tries to be The Exorcist. The acting here is fantastic. Again, I mentioned this is like an actor's movie. It's just, wall-to-wall acting and intense feelings and sensations. Every actor gets, to do something different. There's definitely no one-note performances. Basically, again, this is the entire cast. Matthew McConaughey, which this is probably his best work ever, if not since A Time to Kill. I'm a big Matthew McConaughey fan. I watched Dazed and Confused soon after it came out on VHS. I feel like I've been with Matthew McConaughey since the beginning of his career. I think he's kind of insane, and I think that's awesome. We want our superstar actors to be insane, preferably. And he's, no doubt, different. And that shines through here, and this is really a balls out, brave performance. Just electric, really. Again, his best work of his career. The best work of his career, easily. You've also got Emile Hirsch, who's good. He plays, I suppose, the lead character. And he's just so pathetic in the film. But, he's good here. I can't say that I'm the biggest fan of Emile Hirsch, but, he's really good here. Along with Juno Temple. She plays the innocent, naive character that I mentioned earlier. The name sounds familiar. The face didn't really look familiar. She has to do full frontal nudity, a couple times during this film. It's a very brave performance, especially from someone so young. Gina Gershon. I don't really see Gina Gershon much anymore. I think she made her big impact with Bound. I really can't place her in another movie. I'm like, oh, okay, that's definitely a Gina Gershon movie. But Bound is, and she's really good here. She probably has the most heavy lifting in terms of traumatic, stress that you have to endure. She was good in here, and I really, felt for her. And she also full frontal nudity, often. So again, I admire that. And round out the cast, Thomas Hayden Church, and he's really good here, perfectly cast. That's what's so good here is everyone's just perfectly cast, and it's the chemistry between everyone is great. It feels just like a dysfunctional family. It just feels so natural, and that's what makes it so impactful. Is they're just terrible people, and they're doing terrible things, and it feels so real, and it feels just like they're breathing, and that's disturbing. I don't know what else to say. I really enjoyed the film. I think everyone should see it if you're, even halfway a Matthew McConaughey fan. This is just fantastic. Again, the best performance of his career. If you like, psychological thrillers, I just call them mind fucks. If you like mind fucks, then, this will definitely fuck your mind. And you will think about this in the days after you watch it. The film looked really good. It wasn't too flashy or anything. Again, I think there was a lot going on in terms of editing. When I think about watching this film again, and I do think about watching this film again, it's just to experience and understand those cutaways a little bit more, and just what's going on in terms of editing here. I think that's kind of very intriguing. It does look really gorgeous. The cinematography is really good. This is the type of film where you can watch it and go, okay, maybe that actually means something, because it's so perfectly orchestrated. And in terms of color, it's they'll shift colors throughout the scene, and you'll think that, oh, well, this definitely has, some meaning to it. So it's just that type of film where everything could mean something, and it's very layered and rich, and just ultimately rewarding, because it's terrifying. It's disturbing, and I think that's rewarding. A film should disturb you. I think that's a good thing. I don't know what else to say about it. I really loved it. I can't recommend it more. So, yeah, I think that's it. I highly recommend it. I give it a solid 9. So that's William Friedkin's film of Tracy Letts's play, Killer Joe. Thank you very much.